6 months ago, my life sucked. Booty. And I'm not talking Beyonce, bootylicious booty. I'm talking I just ate Taco Bell and realized they didn't cook their dog meat all the way through. Booty. You see, my boyfriend of 3 years dumped me, and everything I believed in died, okay? In fact, the only things I believed in anymore were Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey ice cream and television. Look, I would spend hours eating pint after pint, ignoring the cries of my already perfectly formed thighs, just wishing to be transformed into any other world but my own. And it was in this other world where I was introduced to Don Draper, the protagonist of the hit TV series Mad Men. Mad Men is a show about ad execs living in New York in the 1960s. And just like Precious, when she stole that bucket of fried chicken, I immediately dug in. But also like Precious, who too eagerly chewed down those greasy bits into that charming, chubby face of hers, I began to feel sick, as I realized that Don Draper is a glorified sexist pig, and championed as the hero of the show, while women are given far too few redeeming qualities. I began to have cramps and feel sweats, and instead of going to the doctor, I self-diagnosed myself with what I'd like to call mad woman syndrome. Clever, I know. MWS is when we as a society, individualistically or whole, accept the negative images that women are portrayed within media, especially television. It's Spanish or Pig Latin for sexual complacency. So today, we'll look at the causes of sexual complacency, the effects this has on our daily lives and legislature, and solutions to come together to fight this terrible disease. Because according to the July 2010 Salon magazine article titled Why Mad Men is Bad for Women, women are punished despite what they do and their character choices, while the men triumph no matter what. It isn't a realistic depiction of television or our real lives. And anyways, what's more uncomfortable than PMS? MWS! Season 1, Episode 2, Mad Men. Don Draper looks out of a window. Roger, what do women want? Roger looks out of the other window. Don, who cares? Rude. They're both rude. Because there are two causes to this terrible disease. First, the limited scope given to us by television. And second, our desensitization to sexist themes within entertainment. But first, television media gives us a limited scope, therefore forcing us to accept the negative portrayals of women. And according to an episode of Oprah, which I'm sure exists somewhere, sexism isn't cool, because women are awesome. And of course, our lives aren't really all that dramatic, except for Lindsay Lohan's. Hers sucks, and we should all really pray for her. But there's something about the theatrical presentation of discrimination and contempt for women that makes it feel unfamiliar. It makes it feel like it's okay. And I know what you're going to say. But Yemisi, women ain't just secretaries anymore. We be the bosses. First, don't speak slang. It's disgusting. And second, according to this past year's Forbes Fortune 500 list of companies and their CEOs, only 2.6 of those companies had women that were CEOs, and only 15.9 of those board seats within those companies were occupied by women. So what exactly are we running? Answer, nothing. Second, our desensitization to the sexist themes within media. According to the April 11, 2012 National Post article by feminist activist Gloria Steinem, she calls this the Mad Men effect, when a show is so steeped in nostalgia and impeccable sets that the workplace and cultural misogyny just becomes an artistic rendering of the era. Look, are we so blinded by the awesome fact that they could smoke indoors and drink copious amounts of liquor without throwing up in a trash can behind a Walmart, that we accept things that we wouldn't accept in our modern day workplace? The sexism of that time wasn't so dramatic because it was real to them. And the men bore no malice. The oppression was invisible. And the fact that we can't recognize misogyny within that television show shows something at large today. Well, you guys can't recognize sexism. I can. And I don't have a superiority complex. And I don't have a multiple personality disorder. January 29th, 1991, former President H.W. Bush sits down to talk about Margaret Thatcher. He says, "You're looking at a man who sat down with a woman to talk about serious issues." Wow, guys. Former president sits down with a woman who fought her way to be the first ever British Prime Minister, and she didn't want to talk about babies. That is shocking and appalling and disgusting, like these two effects of limited scope and desensitization. The first effect, when we become comfortable with these themes, we run the risk of adopting them. And listen, people, Mad Men is a pretty freaking popular show. It is the only drama series to win an Emmy every single first 4 seasons. Yeah. 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. It has 15 Emmys and 4 Golden Globes. So you can't tell me that this show isn't popular, because according to TV Guide, it is. On March 1st, 2012, last year, Ariana Jones, a correspondent for The Ed Show on MSNBC, stated that even though March 1st was even though March 1st was Women's History Month, I didn't know we had a month either, 2012 would be the year of women! Well, Ariana, it's 2013. 2012 was just the year of Beyonce, just like 2013. Because women have been relegated to the back of the governmental issues bus when we should be sitting in the front. And Rosa Parks wouldn't put up with this, Yemisi Egbewole isn't going to put up with it, and you shouldn't either. Stamps foot, flips hair, moves on to the next point, the effects of our desensitization to the sexist themes within entertainment. When we become comfortable with these themes, we run the risk of becoming indifferent. And indifference is dangerous, because if we're not making any progress forward, we can only ever be pushing back. More and more today, the people who run our government, politicians, are making outrageous statements when it comes to women. Representative Todd Akin last year, in April of 2012, made a statement while running for the 2012 Senate race in Missouri, stating that women could only get pregnant from legitimate rape. Awesome. What kind of ideology is this? Is it 2013 or the 1960s? See where I'm going with this? In April of 2012, the Violence Against Women Act was debated between the Senate and the House of Representatives, and up until 2 weeks ago, it finally reached the President's desk where it was signed. This bill was enacted in 1994 by former President Bill Clinton and has provided services for women who were victims of domestic abuse. It shouldn't be up for discussion. We should never be debating these issues when it comes to a woman's safety, because it's 2013, not the 1960s. Just like all of my ex-boyfriends, this transition won't last long. Solutions. There are 2. Be an activist outside. Be an activist inside. But first, be an activist outside. Get out in your community. The obvious. Talk to your House of Representatives and your Senate. And if you don't think you can make a difference by simply making women a priority, consider Lilly Ledbetter, who took a simple pay discrimination act from the local courts and it made its way all the way to the Supreme Court, eventually becoming the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. And on January 29, 2009, it became the first ever bill signed into Congress by President Barack Obama. Second, be an activist inside. It's about total and complete self-awareness. Consider the consequences if you were to say the N-word to me right here, in this room. Go ahead, Darby. It's okay. We're friends.
Nope.
Good. Now consider if you would tell me a woman joke. Get in the kitchen. Make a sandwich. We can think about it and consider it more because we've all done it. Even me. Read pro-women books. Authors like Angela Davis, Mary Daly. Educate yourself so that when you see acts of discrimination or when someone puts sexist rhetoric towards you, you have an educated response. And if not, just slap the MWS out of them. So, now that we've looked at the causes, effects, and solutions of sexual complacency, and after I watched 4 seasons of Mad Men and threw up chunky monkey bits all over my weave and pajamas, I decided to get up off the couch and find a way to fight this disease, because we have a tall, long, beautiful, chocolatey journey if we're going to fight this. Yeah, that was a metaphor for Michelle Obama. I just wanted to throw that in here. I really like her. Because even though Don Draper's a sexy man, he's sexist. And sexy men who are sexist aren't sexy.